I'm the publisher of Cutting Tool Engineering magazine. My name is Don Nelson, and we are here at the IMX trade show, and I'm talking to Steve Stokey, the Executive Vice President of Allied Machine and Engineering. And I know, Steve, that Allied is working on developing or promoting its step tools and also its threading line.
Right.
And I was wondering if you could share with us why you are focusing on those two product lines, what the need is in the market, and if you could also talk a little bit about the capabilities of those tools. And let's start with the multi-step tools.
Multi-step tools. What we see in the marketplace with many companies, and it's a new business cycle right now. And what's happening is companies are looking at how can they save money with existing equipment and get more products out each day. So seconds matter. And what we're seeing more and more is that tool change time, people are looking at tools in the turret and how can they touch the piece once and finish it. So with our multi-step tools, they're able to go in, do 3, 4, 5 operations at one shot. And that's a lot of money. And what we're also seeing now too with machine tools, with the activity in the marketplace, a lot of lead times are being extended out. A lot of people aren't able to get equipment. So what they're looking at is their current existing equipment and saying, how can I get more done with what I have today? So our multi-step tools are fitting right into that wheelhouse. And the nice thing about Allied too is that our InstaQuote process, where people can go online, they can quote those new tools or those new ideas, get an instant print, an instant price, and our lead times, now with a different business cycle, you're seeing most lead times on equipment go up. Our lead times on deliveries on special multi-step tools are actually coming down.
Okay. What do people know who have never used these type of tools, multi-step tools? What do they need to know if they're going to be using them for the first time in terms of speeds and feeds, equipment requirements?
Well, that's always an interesting question. We always get the how long will my tool last? How should I run it? What speeds and feeds? And the thing that we would tell customers is the most important part of any drilling operation is to get a good chip to begin with. So set your feed that you're going to run the tool at, get a good chip that you can live with in your process, and then start working on speed to be able to run it as fast as you can. So chip formation is critical, and then speed and that balance of tool life, because sometimes people want consistency in their process. They want to be able to run it and get X number of pieces, and other people just want to go fast. So Allied offers that ability and the flexibility in that tool to get either, depending on what the customer need is.
Can you give us a sense of what kind of time savings, based on an actual case history that someone has realized using the multi-step tools?
Oh, that's a tough one. We've got lots of case studies, but those that come to mind are in the 50 to 80% range. As far as those are the real fun ones. I could always talk about the ones that are 300%. But what we find is when people are looking at a particular application, it's a huge money saver for them because it's a problem in their process that they have not been able to fix in the past. So going from not being able to offer a solution to a customer to actually be able to solve that problem with a multi-step tool and actually deliver on a quoted promise is huge. But and again, you look at the automatic screw machine shops, you look at those people, if they can save 2 seconds on a part, that translates into millions of dollars a year. So we think it's a niche that the marketplace loves and that we're going to continue to service and expand. And we offer so many different solutions depending on the material, whether it's aluminum or the high ink alloys or the stainless steels. Again, we're the company that we hear so many times in the marketplace. Well, when I tried something off the shelf, it didn't work, so then I called Allied, because we don't give up. Whatever your problem is, if the first time it doesn't work, we're going to keep at it until we can provide that customer with a solution that works for him.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the threading line. Threading seems like an old-fashioned type of process, so I'm just kind of interested that you're emphasizing that. But what's the reason? What's the demand in the market?
Well, the reason why we're emphasizing it is the 7 times theory. We always say you got to tell people 7 times. So we're back once again letting people know that we have thread mills. And what we see in the marketplace, based on the work pieces that we're machining out there, very high dollar work pieces. So we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, where in the past, companies have always just automatically used a tap. And what we find is when they're machining that part, if they break a tap, everyone panics. Because now they have to burn that tap out, and they're concerned, are we going to lose that workpiece? With thread milling, you're actually milling inside the hole, so if there would ever be a situation where the thread would break, the thread mill automatically just falls into the hole. You can actually replace the thread mill in the spindle, go right back into the process, and finish the thread on the part.
Plus, there would be a certain flexibility with thread mills because you can do the OD too.
You can do the OD, and then also, the diameter of the hole doesn't matter. I mean, with a tap, you have to buy a hole specific tap based on the diameter that you're trying to thread. With a thread mill, you just circular interpolate a bigger diameter. So.
Now, are you seeing that thread mills are in some cases replacing taps? Is it kind of like a situation where the use of thread mills is going up, taps is going down?
We see that. I don't think that thread mills are ever going to replace taps. Thread milling takes a little bit longer. And what we see out in the marketplace is that you're after that those people that are after just hard cycle time reduction, they look at thread milling and they say, that takes too long. But we also have thread milling as a secondary operation for people. And what they're looking at is consistency in their process, consistency in the predictability of how many parts is this thread mill going to run. A lot of people with taps, sometimes they run them until they break. Thread mills, you can program it and say, hey, this is going to run 1,000 pieces. I'm going to change my thread mill at 1,000 pieces, put a brand new one in, and it's predictable, it's consistent, and we actually see a lot of people use it because they want additional thread engagement with their fasteners.
All right, well, we talked about multi-step tools and threading. What can we look for or expect to see from Allied going forward, in 2012 and the next 24 months?
Right. I think what you're going to, I know what you're going to see from Allied is that continued refinement of geometries for customer solutions. There's a lot of new materials out there. Even though we talk about titanium so much, I don't think that's been completely solved. The ink alloys, the stainless steels. We continue to develop geometries for those niche opportunities out in the marketplace. So you're going to see us build off of our current product lines, looking at different substrates, different coatings, different geometries to be able to fill in those holes where customers are having problems. Then you're also going to be seeing Allied coming out with some new drilling products that I can't talk about right now because I don't want to give it all away. But we're going to be that hole drilling company. Whenever you say, I've got a hole and who do I call, whether it's multi-step, traditional drilling, how am I going to finish this hole? We'll be the company that people will be turning to now and in the future.
Shifting gears a little bit, we all know that the challenges that the economy is facing, but manufacturing seems to be plugging along. What's your take on that? Why do you think that is?
That's really that's the million-dollar question or billion-dollar question. I'm not really sure. I think the one thing that we can all say is that based on how bad things were in 2009, that things are just continuing to come back, and we're trying to seek that new normal. But we also know that we live in a global economy, and we're seeing the fact that the infrastructure build that's going on in China, the infrastructure build that's going on in India, we see it in Brazil. Those are emerging markets that are just going to continue to grow, and I think the U.S. may be feeding a little bit off of that because they can't supply their own economies. But for the most part, I think we're all a little perplexed and saying, wow, where is this coming from? But I also think that what you're seeing from manufacturers in general is that innovation, that increased productivity, finding new ways to get things done. And you're seeing a lot of companies embracing that new technology, buying capital equipment, trying to reduce their costs, trying to lean out their companies. And we're seeing it on Wall Street, obviously, with the publicly held companies being highly profitable. But that's what manufacturers do. You either make it, mine it, or grow it, and that's how we're going to drive standards of living in our country. And it's exciting to see manufacturing leading the way for our country.
It is indeed. And how is Allied doing in this? How are you faring in this environment?
We're doing fine. We're excited about where we are and where we're heading. We were all concerned about will we ever get back to '08, and we're going to pass '08 this year, and the future's bright. So we're going to keep growing our market share, keep looking at new markets with our products, and keep blocking and tackling every day like we all do.
Spoken like someone from Ohio.
Go Bucks.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Tom.